Thank you for watching the Sustainability Chat. The Sustainability Institute is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization located in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Our mission is to catalyze sustainable action in the Seven Rivers region through educating about local sustainability issues and solutions, advocating for climate and sustainable action, connecting like-minded organizations and people to each other, and inspiring a positive vision for a sustainable future. We hope you check out all of our programs and events, like our Sustainability Chats, Green Goose Chase, Earth Fair, and the Inspiring Sustainability Awards. The Sustainability Institute free programming is only available thanks to our generous supporters. If you find what we do meaningful, please consider donating today by heading to our website, sustaininstitute.com. Once there, you can find information by clicking the Become a Member or Donate button at the top of the page. Support at any level is greatly appreciated, and your contribution is tax deductible. We especially want to thank our highest tier members, including our committed advocates and cheering champions. Thank you! Now on to today's Sustainability Chat featuring one of La Crosse's Youth Climate Action Fund projects.
Hi everyone and welcome to Sustainability Chat. I am Mick, currently interning at the Sustainability Institute for the summer. Today I am thrilled to be speaking with Adela, a high school student and two-time recipient of Youth Climate Action Fund in 2024 and 2025. We will be diving into two impactful projects she has led and hearing about her journey and experiences working on them.
So I guess for me, I've grown up in a household that is very centered around our personal climate awareness. And also for my first project in the marsh, it's special for a place like La Crosse, a city, to have a marsh so close to the city itself. And it's always heavily used. I know for me, I have my cross country workouts in there. When I was little, I would go to camps down there. During COVID, I would do my little recess and bike through the marsh real quick. And it's used all seasons. Biking, skating, everything you can think of is done in the marsh, and it's used by all ages, all sorts of people. And for me, when I started that project, it was very personal for me, I guess you could say, because I've always been there. And that's what inspired that one. And then I think for my second one, the vulnerable populations climate kits, that was more so can I do as someone who has the privilege of living comfortably and being prepared for the next few decades or whatever it may be, centered around climate change, and what can I do in my what's available to me to help other people. And so that's what inspired the other one. So the first one, as was said earlier, its finished project was QR codes in the La Crosse River Marsh. And they are attached to the kiosks. And it started as we had many ideas, and I worked with Friends of the Marsh as the nonprofit. And I had to gather fellow classmates, so people my own age, youth, and I managed them along the process, and we wrote up our little scripts. We worked with a sound engineer, which was a very cool experience. We went in and we recorded, and we had him edit it all together, and then we uploaded it onto the website, and now you can go in the marsh and scan the QR codes. And the QR codes is basically just the history of the marsh and how it's come to be what it is today, and its importance in the present and the future. Because as we know, marshes are pretty crucial as our temperatures heat up, and we have extreme weather like past few days we've had some serious rain, and it's pretty crucial to have the marshes as a backup. So it just kind of brings awareness to that. And then the second project, which is in the works, is the extreme weather kits for vulnerable populations of La Crosse city area. And so far, what it's kind of shaped up to be is just education as well as distribution of just resources is really what it is. It is under the city's health and safety goal of the climate action plan. And so far I've talked to professionals, public health nurses, and people that are already doing great work. And it's going to be items that are needed, sunscreen, bug spray, simple things, and to just kind of be able to distribute them and give them, if they are available, education as to what other things are out there to help them, as they contribute the least probably to our climate dilemma, and they're kind of paying the most. So we're reaching out to places of worship in the city, and they will be points of distribution or education, have pamphlets about resources, just simple things. We are also going to attend and table a local event, and there we're just it's going to be another distribution place for us. For the Marsh one with the QR codes, it's completed. So over the whole process, I would say in the requirements for completing the grant, you have to have some sort of youth participation. And so I enlisted the help of people my own age. And I would say the toughest part was fellow students and having to manage them, keep them on track, lay out the responsibilities, and have some sort of authority in managing them. And I mean, it was kind of tough having to say I'm like, I mean, usually people take that from adults, but it's someone their own age. And throughout the whole process, for me, it was pretty difficult to keep them on task, but still have like the respect, I suppose. My second project, well, it's still in the works. There's a lot of communication about how we're going to put payments through for purchasing these supplies that we're going to be distributing. And the nonprofit I'm working with is very open, and they're really great at communicating, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I think just the nitpicky like business portion of the second project is what so far has been the most challenging. I think, as anyone may say, the finished product of my first one, and knowing that it's going to be there for a while. As I said before, it's little QR codes, which we figured was a pretty updated way of dispersing information. I mean, everyone walks around with their phone. So I think we went out on a pretty chilly day, and it was me and my two mentors, leaders, as you could call them, from Friends of the Marsh, and we drilled them into the kiosks. And that was pretty rewarding for me knowing that months had come up to doing that. And then um, even on my own time, just walking through the marsh or knowing that other people walking through the marsh can just pull out their phone and scan it, and then they can have all this information about the history of the marsh, specific things like, oh, this giant cottonwood tree was one of the largest in Wisconsin, like things that they might not even think of, and knowing that the marsh where they live is pretty important. And then from the second one, I mean, it's still a work in progress, but I think in the end, I can see it rewarding knowing that I have helped people, and even in a small way. But it's nice to know and it feels good to do something like that. Um, and yeah, just knowing that they've been helped in some sort of way. We sort of started with a little formula, if you will, like this much of history and this much of current and this much of the importance and how it relates to the city's climate action grant. Um, and we did, I don't remember the exact number of the trails, but I mean, the QR codes are out there and you scan it and it can tell you information um, about its relation to indigenous cultures and the importance for them. And it can tell you about specific wildlife species. It ranges a bit, but at the end, it kind of ties it all into the city's climate grant and its importance in the next few decades. I would say it has definitely opened my eyes. I know that there are a lot of opportunities and there are a lot of people willing to help, specifically in our community. I know I've talked with many professionals and I've gotten so many, oh, you're so wonderful for doing this sort of project. We're so happy that someone is taking time to fulfill this or whatever it might be. But I think there's so many things in our area that are available, but they might not be taken advantage of. In La Crosse, there's not all that many people who have taken advantage of this action grant. And there's a lot of ways you can go with it too. I know my first project is entirely different from my second project, but it also kind of brings to light that people are ready to hand over the reins, if you will, to the next generation so that, you work them in so that they're ready to kind of battle the worst climate change that yet. I mean, it's gonna get worse, but so that they're ready for that sort of thing. Like I said before, I think that there are many people, specifically in our area, but I'm sure across the country or even the world, that are just really, really willing to put something out there, whether it be money or resources, time, their knowledge as professionals. Um, but also, there's so many directions to go. If you are wanting to get into the health space, you could do some sort of like what I'm doing with my second project, the just helping somehow there. But if you want to go into an environmental field, you could plant trees. It can be simple, but it can also be very impactful. For the listeners, I think just get outside in nature and take a minute and just kind of realize what we have right now And think to yourself how beautiful it is outside and what might change. I know it's not always the most pleasant thought, but what you're doing currently and what you could be doing or what you have done. Um, and just taking a minute to realize what people are working to protect and how, yeah, it might affect you in your own life. It might be, oh, you might not have a place to go run your track workouts. It could be there's not an ice skating rink out there in the winter, or oh, there's less fish. Something simple like that, in relation to the marsh. Um, but also in relation to the second project, um, it could be simple like donating something to a local resource. There's tons of resources and people ready to help out there. I can say that's definitely happened more than once. Um, I think I have a pretty strong support system, whether it be with the mentors that I've worked with in the project, or my family, or my friends, whoever it might be. And it's definitely happened more than once. But I think knowing that the end result is something worth working for and that it's going to make a difference in some way. Um, and it might mean taking a step back and like recollecting yourself. But it's worth working for. And so you just keep plugging away and you get there. Yeah. Um, I would just like to say that there are plenty of youth in our area, in the country, in the world, that are ready and willing to take part in protecting their planet.
To stay connected with the Sustainability Institute and stay aware of upcoming events, head on over to our website to join our mailing list. Once again, we want to thank you for watching this Sustainability Chat. We hope to see you soon.